Hey, what's up everybody? Wayne York here, and today we are going to finally start this engine build. So this is going to be a 422 twin turbo stroker motor. Got the car lifted up here behind me. We got the engine block back yesterday evening, so today we're going to be cleaning up the engine block to make sure there's no little metal shavings or anything left over from the machine shop. We're going to install the crankshaft, and then I'm going to be gapping the piston rings. I'm not sure if we'll get the pistons and rods installed today or not, but that's really the goal for today, is to just get this thing started. I took a couple extra days off work over the next 2 weeks, so really hoping like 2 weeks from now to be firing this thing up finally. Subscribe. YouTube and Instagram are both B5Beast422, and let's get this thing started. All right guys, here's just a quick update on the car. I haven't really shown this stuff a lot. Got the AAD rear end arms swapped over. Got my 15-inch beadlocks on. Car's up on quick jacks. Great purchase. Here's the engine block. So basically the new pistons I got are 10 over bore. So the machine shop had to get these widened up for me a little bit. And the first step that we already did right here are the oil squirter block off caps I got from Modern Muscle Extreme. They were like $50. So basically before we had these oil squirters, which where it's blocked off, they would get oil in, and then it would basically just be pushed through these tubes up into each cylinder to lube the pistons. But with the different stroke and everything, it would hit, the pistons would hit these oil tubes, so we had to remove them. So we got all those in, dab a Loctite, and good to go. So next I'm just gonna continue cleaning this thing down, and then we're gonna install the crankshaft. All right, so I just got all these main studs in. According to the paperwork, these are just hand tight only into the block. And then once we actually put the caps on, then those will be torqued to 100 foot-pounds. Next, we're about to measure the clearance.
I'd like to show, you see it's got an F on it for in the front.
Yeah, we're upside down, but yeah. Yeah, so there, you know, forward and rear of the engine, there's one of these go on each side, so that is good to note. Got the R for rear. And these are what keep the crank from going forward to aft.
It's crank in shaft play, and we're going to check that too, since his is a straight drive. It's more important. Automatic, you can get away with a little bit more in shaft play.
Alright guys, so this is called plastic gauge. We just set the crankshaft into the block, and we're using this to check the clearances between the bearings. So what we're gonna do is put a strip of that to where the 5 main caps go. Then we're going to bolt and torque down the main caps. After that, we're going to remove it and then measure these to confirm we have the correct clearance before fully assembling the entire engine. So the studs are just hand tightened into the block. You just bottom it out by hand. And then once you put the nut on, those are going to be torqued to 100 foot-pounds. Also, each one is labeled, so this is the front of the engine. You can see the number 1 stamped into it. And all the arrows should be facing towards the front of your engine. Just like that. Here you can see the number 2 and that. The center one actually doesn't have a number, but then the next 2 you'll have 4 and 5. So number 3, it has its arrow on the opposite side as the rest, so instead of where the number should be, you have the arrow down there and it's not numbered, but well, here it is as well. So this one will go on this way.
Yeah, it's actually aimed. It's crazy how they flipped it.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and finish getting these in, torque them to 100 foot-pounds, and then I'll show removing how we check the clearance. Alright guys, so we torqued down all the main caps to 100 foot-pounds. Now we are removing all them. You saw that thin little layer of the plastic gauge? Once you torque it down, it basically smushes it. And it comes with this gauge. This will focus. There you go. And you basically measure how wide it is off their gauge here. So we're wanting 1.5 thousandths to 2 thousandths, so either this second white line or the green one right below it. So where it's smushed down, we're right in between. It's really close, somewhere in between these two. So that's right where we're at. And then you just go along. That's basically right at 1.5 thousandths. And so I'm just gonna go through and check one, but I mean, as you can see, those are looking good. Pretty much dead on where we want it.
And after this, we're gonna rotate it 180 over and then plastic gauge it again to check it. We're making sure it's not egg shaped at all.
And then after that, we'll be good to put the assembly lube on and get this thing together. Alright, I cut the video off because I didn't realize he was going to pick up the crank already, but we got the bottom half lubed up, crankshaft is put back in. Now he's lubing up with some Lucas Assembly Lube, the main caps, and we will be reinstalling these now that we know the clearances are all where they should be. And this will be the last install with the torque down to 100 foot-pounds. Alright, so we got all of the main studs in place, and in the instructions from ARP, and they include a bag of lube. They tell you to lube the washer and nut, put a little bit on the threads. So we're throwing those on now, and then going to torque them all down 100 foot-pounds. All right, give me some of those. All right, and these are the nuts for the ARP kit. These are 12.14 millimeters.
Yeah, 12.14 millimeter. Yep. Yeah.
All right, so we're doing the final torque down, 100 foot-pounds. We already went through and did them slightly less torque. So basically we're gonna work on the center and then work our way outwards. And then I'll go over and just double check all of them. So then you can go to either one, then the opposite, and just work your way out. There we go. And then I'm gonna go over and just double check everything one more time. All right guys, so now that we have all those torqued down, double checked, there is also side bolts. These were also supplied from ARP. It tells you to put RTV underneath the washer on these to seal it up to the blocks to ensure you don't have any oil leaks. And then these are all going to be torqued down to 25 foot-pounds. So you got 5 of these on each side, 10 total. Haven't touched them on this side yet, but we'll show that. Pretty simple. You can see some RTV under there. And get these in and we'll be done with the crank for tonight. Alright guys, so like I said, these side bolts are now being torqued down to 25 foot-pounds. These are all 10 millimeter, 12 point. So I already got that side. Phone died right after we recorded the video. So we'll redo these. All right guys, so that's it. Like I said, we already did the other side. So that is it on how to install the crankshaft for your Gen 3 Hemi. Follow for the rest of the build, YouTube and Instagram, both B5Beast422. Thanks for watching. This thing's nice and smooth, ready to go.